Hello, welcome to Do or Die. This is my versus show that I've been doing for about 2 months now, and today's episode is about Banjo and Kazooie versus Spyro and Sparks. Now, this episode's unique because I never really see anybody think about this one. Come on, 3D platformer, 1998. They're both adventurous. They both got a flying little buddy, so why not? And this is my third episode, and now let's get to the specs. First of all, Banjo-Kazooie's origin story. We don't really know much about how this bird and bear met, but we know they didn't met, which led to the events of Banjo 1, Tooie, and Nuts and Bolts, and Grunty's Revenge. They're around 5 foot and their occupation's adventurers. For strength, Banjo can lift a large gold statue about larger, the same size as him. I calculated this statue to be around 3 to 4 tons. Which is pretty impressive considering people say Kazooie's the muscle of the team. Kazooie herself can shatter this large boulder. As you can see, it's not intact anymore, but when it was a large boulder larger than Banjo-Kazooie themselves. Considering how tall they are, or how tall Banjo is, this boulder should be around 20 to 10 tons. For strength, Kazooie can also smash this ice block, which is the same size. Ice is considerably less heavy than large stone, but it's still impressive nonetheless. For durability, they can take large TNT and create explosions, and they can also take just standard TNT sticks. They can take a hit from this meteor-like debris, which is powerful enough to destroy this large building-like structure, and they're tough enough to take hits from Grunty, whose attacks were powerful enough to singe their entire house, which is easily large or small building level. And here's the picture of the meteor that destroyed the large stone structure, or the piece of debris, whatever you want to call it. Banjo himself is still pretty durable. Banjo himself is able to take a fall, which I calculated to be 1 to 2 tons of TNT, as shown here. Well, for speed, Banjo, naturally being a bear, can run 25 miles per hour. Obviously, they're also fast enough to dodge cannonballs, Grunty's spell attacks, which can move pretty fast. They can also dodge fire blast, ice blast from dragons, can run extremely far distances in seconds, and Kazooie is faster than Banjo, and Banjo can casually run 25 miles per hour being a bear. And they have a roll attack that could pretty much increase their speed with a roll. But for intelligence, however, Banjo isn't the brightest tool in the shed, but he can solve puzzles easily, figure out a boss's attack patterns, and beat Grunty at 2 of her rigged games, like a trivia game and a Monopoly-esque game. They are pretty smart and can learn a lot of moves. Speaking of moves, here's their weapons and arsenal. They have a large variety of eggs. First, their standard eggs, which can shatter pieces of King Cole, who's a giant coal monster. They have their fire eggs, which can melt ice, heat up people extremely hot temperatures, and ignite people, which is obvious, the fire eggs. They also have ice eggs, which can freeze people, slow them down, or just, do what I said first, freeze them. And they can only hold about 50 of them. They have battery eggs, which they can hold 15 of, but they can slow down their foe, stun them, or hit them with a powerful electric shock that's bound to hurt. They have grenade eggs. They hold 15 of these too. However, the explosions about wall level or small building level, and they're pretty powerful for what they are. They have their clockwork eggs, which are pretty unique. When Kazooie hatches one of these eggs or shoots them, they summon a tiny little Kazooie droid that can run and explode on an enemy. They have their golden eggs, which are pretty good. They can rapid fire these eggs, fire them in large spurts, and when they shoot ya, it's gonna hurt. They have their turbo trainer shoes, or Kazooie's, which allows Kazooie to run incredibly quick speeds, which is pretty impressive because they outran a bear on a sled. They also have the golden feather. This feather can let them access the ability Wonder Wing that defends them from pretty much anything. They also have the spring shoes. It lets them bounce around with these, and then they can jump incredibly high while using these. But Kazooie can only use them, not Banjo. They have a lot of natural abilities too. Banjo can perform a roll, a claw swipe move, Kazooie can do a beak barrage or her beak bomber attack, and Banjo has his backpack. He can store things in it. It's basically hammer space, and Banjo himself can hop in it and heal himself up or use it as a weapon to perform a spin attack. They have one of their strongest weapons in their arsenal, the magic wrench. This wrench can be used as a telekinetic-like weapon and can bring golden jiggies above. However, they do have a lot of weaknesses. They work better as a team, and they bicker most of the time. And Kazooie's snorty attitude gets him in a lot of trouble. Just watch the cutscenes of the games. And yeah, Banjo-Kazooie's rare buyout. If Rare didn't get bought out, Banjo-Kazooie would have had a little bit more feats, but what they have is pretty good. But can they beat the Purple Pest? From one awesome 3D collectathon 3D platformer to another, here's Spyro the Dragon. His age is 12, he's about 3 to 4 feet tall, his aliases are Dork, and his occupation is an adventurer. We'll be sticking to classic Spyro for this fight, considering that there's not much about Banjo. For his strength, Spyro is pretty strong considering his small size. He can easily smash through these golden and steel crates like they're nothing, and they're pretty reinforced, so they're pretty powerful. He can beat large armored enemies, his charge amplifies his strength, and he can also beat Nasty Nork, who has golden armor, with a ram or any move really, and he's powerful enough to beat large enemies way powerful than himself. For durability, Spyro doesn't really have any concrete durability feats. He's basically featless in this area, but his little pal Sparks does all the durability. For speed, he can run extremely fast distances in seconds. His charge move also amplifies his speed. He can dodge cannonballs, energy blasts, and run large terrains in seconds. For intelligence, however, well, he can see when people need help. He doesn't seem to know the difference between a goat and a fawn somehow. It's okay, Spyro. You're still cool. He's smart enough to learn different moves like Dragon Karate and chi moves like Chi Punch or his tail stab ability. While he's not the brightest, he can still learn some pretty cool things. For Sparks, on the other hand, his little buddy, this little guy is extremely tough. He can take cannonball fire, hits from tough enemies, and he can usually take 3 to 4 hits, rapid fire itty-bitty energy projectiles, keep up with Spyro, hold things like diamonds and gems, and is all around pretty good. But for his real weapons, Spyro can breathe fire. This fire is tough enough to break gold chests and hurt people like Nasty Nork, who wears golden armor. He also has this electric breath. This breath is more of a medium-ranged weapon, and it's not too much of far range, but what it could cover is pretty impressive. He has this pretty powerful aura blast. I like calling it aura blast. It's actually called his earth breath, but it's basically an aura-like laser beam that he can use to hit enemies from medium range. He has this ice breath, close range again, but it can be used to freeze, and then he can perform a charge move combo. It's pretty cool. However, it is medium ranged. He also has his wind breath. This one is probably far ranged and medium ranged, as he can trap people on a mini tornado, push them far away, or he can use it up close to just bring them into him. He has his bubble breath, which can trap dragonflies and bubbles, not that important. His water breath, however, can push people away like his wind breath can, but that isn't too useful considering his wind breath only does something like that, but it actually damages people. He also has a large variety of different moves he can learn, like his charge move. He can run incredibly fast and ram into his opponents. He has many dragon kata moves, apparently, like his tail stab and his roll attack. He also has, speaking of roll, he can roll dodge, he can fly and shoot fire, and he can do many other things. However, he is pretty cocky. Without Sparks, he usually dies in one hit, and it's unknown if he truly mastered his chai moves. But this little speedy dragon, but who will win, the bear or the dragon?
What will you do next?
I'd say the sky's the limit.
Holy, this fight is pretty close. But after all that speculating and that whole month, the winner is Banjo and Kazooie. Well, yeah, This fight got me on the edge of my seat, guys. This one was very close. Spyro could have won in some circumstances, but Banjo-Kazooie just edged out more. Think about it. Banjo-Kazooie were a lot stronger. Kazooie being able to shatter a 10 to 20 ton boulder and ice block. Banjo being able to lift 3 to 4 tons with the golden statue thing. And Banjo-Kazooie's high levels of durability. Now, the fall I calculated, I did not show the full commercial as it would be too time consuming. But I calculated the fall to be about 1 ton of TNT, which is likely a small American nuke. So, and that's pretty powerful. And if you're going to say, well, that's not canon, well, Banjo-Kazooie also survived a large building level, like lava rock. This piece of debris was powerful enough to destroy a large building level like structure. And Banjo can take those and not lose too many honeycombs, which should be a large building level, like I explained in Banjo's column. And their pure raw strength also helped. But Spyro had some edges too. Sparks being tough enough to take hits from Nasty North and other big enemies and being able to take cannonball fire. It would take a long time for Banjo-Kazooie to put him down. But when they eventually will, then the fight could be potentially over. But then their speeds even, their arsenal abilities counter each other, like the standard eggs and the aura breath or earth breath counter each other, the ice eggs and fire breath counter each other, the fire eggs and ice breath counter each other. It's just that they just keep countering each other. But Banjo-Kazooie's trump cards, the magic wrench and the golden feathers, Wonder Wing and the magic wrench would make it so hard for Spyro to bypass anything they can do. Because if Spyro gets hit by a gold Jiggy, it would hurt bad. And if Wonder Wing's activated, Spyro can't hurt them. But Spyro's moves like Water Breath and Ice Breath can help him against Wonder Wing and the golden and the magic wrench, because Ice Breath can easily freeze and shatter the golden Jiggies, and the water can potentially push Banjo-Kazooie away while they try to get near Spyro. But if Spyro does hurt them that bad, they can easily hop in Banjo's bag and heal up. And they can even use Banjo's backpack as a spin attack. Or if Spyro destroys it, once they both Bear and Bird emerge, and then there'll be a 2-on-2, 2 separate fighters against each other. Banjo takes on Spyro, Kazooie takes on Sparks. Kazooie can most likely just defeat Sparks, while Spyro will be helpless. For their flight abilities, while Sparks can't follow Spyro for long, so Banjo-Kazooie use the Beak Bomber while flying, they can easily hit the dragon and take him out with one good hit. Which is why the winners are Banjo and Kazooie. Also, a quick update for people who used to watch Ultimate Smash. That show is canceled. Sorry if you still liked it. I did plan a couple episodes to do for the show, however, but I eventually canceled them for do or die.